Hello, my name is Patrick Brown, Mayor of Brampton, and I'm joined today by Councillor Paul Vicente and Councillor Doug Willans for some service announcements in the City of Brampton. We've said from the beginning of this pandemic that transparency with our residents and the public is critical, and so today I wanted to share some announcements with the public. First of all, I wanted to give the public an update on bylaw enforcement. As you know, Brampton was the first municipality to bring in strict fines, a bylaw for physical distancing, and we continue to enforce that with a level of seriousness because physical distancing is what enables us to flatten the curve. From the last week, we have had inspections to 1,944 locations in Brampton. We've had 247 private inspections, 400 park inspections, and 118 public locations. In the last week, we have issued 116 warnings to individuals who were not following the physical distancing guidelines of public health, and we've had 35 new charges under our physical distancing bylaw. I would note some of those fines, and it's important for the public to know this, to highlight how serious we are. There was 2 cricket games that broke out, and all those cricket games resulted in fines, not just to the organizer, but to all the players. There was a soccer game that broke out, and once again, that team got fined, and we had 5 house parties. Let me repeat, this is not a time to have a house party, and the individuals who are foolish enough and reckless enough to host a house party during a pandemic are now facing very significant fines. The fines in Brampton range from $500 to $100,000, so please follow the advice of public health. The second update I have for the public is we continue to be concerned about the safety of transit operators. We've had 4 transit operators in Brampton test positive for COVID-19, and these are unsung heroes. They are right now helping the essential workers get to work. You may not know, but Brampton has one of the largest food processing sectors in Canada. We help supply food to the entire country, and those essential workers need to get to work in order to make sure we have food on the shelves in grocery stores. The fact that they continue to be at risk, despite the fact we've allowed rear boarding, buses are at half capacity, really has led us to make a request to the province to give priority to transit operators when it comes to COVID-19 testing. Right now, the priority list is quite exhaustive. It includes all hospital workers, residents of long-term care and retirement homes, caregivers, care providers, paramedics, first responders, including police and firefighters, Indigenous communities, rural communities, homeless shelters, prison workers, group homes, but transit operators are not on that list. And after seeing correspondence from the National Union, ATU, for transit operators and hearing the concerns of our own transit operators, we felt compelled to write the province on this, and we've written a letter requesting the Premier and the Minister of Health add to their priority list of groups, transit operators, given that they are on the front lines. They may not get as much attention, but our transit operators are heroes right now, helping us maintain critical services in our city and our country. The second The third additional update I wanted to give the public is we've started a new program in Brampton that Councillor Doug Willans is going to speak about, and that's community gardens. Right now, when there's issues over food security, we're actually going to embark upon a city-wide initiative to provide plants and vegetables, seeds to individuals that actually want to build their own gardens in their backyards. Our medical officer, health doctor Lawrence Lowe, has said that it's a great way to spend time to get fresh air if you have your own backyard. And if you have enough food and you don't have any concerns about food security, our two local organizations, the Knights Table and Regeneration in Brampton, would happily take those food donations. So this is going to be the first in Canada, a citywide initiative to grow our own food in backyards during this period of the pandemic. So on that note, Councillor Willans will expand on this a little bit before our next service update.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Brown. This is a perfect time and opportunity for residents to get together to grow their own food, get a taste of what it's like to actually grow your own vegetables, fresh vegetables from your own garden, as well as help out the community gardens. We're going to have a situation probably this year with our community gardens that we do have. The FCC Campus 1 is one example. We have a senior that looks after that, her biggest concern is the volunteers she's going to be able to get. So if there's anybody out there that has students at home that may want to volunteer some time at this community garden, it's important that the city enhances these gardens that we do have and encourage, and look for more on our website on how to make your own garden at home and grow fresh vegetables and give back to your community. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
And our last update is a service update of how long we're going to need to continue closures of city events and facilities. And with that, Regional Councillor Paul Vicente is going to give us an update of how long we will be closing city events and facilities for.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Just to provide the community with an update on our services and our events here in the City of Brampton, working together with the Brampton Emergency Management Office and under consultation with the Medical Officers of Health, we have made a decision that all city facilities, performing arts centers, including the Rose Theatre, all events that are being held at those facilities are canceled until July the 1st this year, inclusive, in response to COVID-19. These city-led events, very popular here in the city, Victoria Day, Canada Day festivals, will be canceled. These are difficult decisions that we have undertaken, working with all of the experts. We have a very, very strong mosaic cultural scene here in the city of Brampton, and so we just want the community to know that staff will be working behind the scenes to deliver these events wherever possible using digital means. We're committed to all of our organizers, all of our community groups that hold events here in the city, working with them on how they can hold their events in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Vicente, and that completes our service updates for this week. And I'd be happy to take any questions that media have. Okay, I see Nida from the Pointer would like to ask the question. First question.
Hi, Mayor Patrick Brown. 4 Brampton Transit drivers have tested positive for COVID-19 so far, and 3 of them work at the same facility. Has there been an investigation into how the virus was contracted amongst the 3 individuals?
So the investigations are done by Peel Public Health, and I can tell you that Dr. Lawrence Lowe has done investigations into these matters. You'd have to speak to the medical officer of health. I would note we have changed from a containment stage to a mitigation stage, so that changes how aggressive the tracking is right now with public health. But the fact that four of our frontline workers, 4 of our transit operators have tested positive really raises alarm bells for us, and it's why we've raised this to the province to get them on the list that is tested.
And just a quick follow-up, how often are Brampton Transit drivers tested for COVID-19?
So right now they're not on the priority testing list, and it's why we have made this request. Right now they would only be tested if they, like anyone else in the public, was having symptoms that were similar to COVID-19.
Thank you.
Next up we see Graham from the Brampton Guardian. Graham, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can.
Hello? Hello?
Yep, Graham, please go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah, great. No, I'm just curious about, you mentioned some of the facilities are going to be closed until July 1st. Is there any indication about how long the city might keep the social or physical distancing guidelines in place?
I would say that I think it's safe to say that they're going to continue for quite some time. We would change the physical distancing fines on the advice of public health, and really public health is following the data and the science, and it's really difficult to give a precise timeline. And so the only thing I can say is we'll be listening to public health for our advice on when it no longer warrants physical distancing fines.
Okay, just one other quick question there about the task forces. I'm just curious, what kind of funding are the task forces getting? What sort of functions have they performed since they've been formed? And is there any overlap with sort of other regional services and things of that nature?
So we, right now, there are city staff that can't perform their regular jobs, and so we've reassigned them to help the task force. We also have members of the Brampton Emergency Management Office that have been assigned to support the task force works. And really, we're just trying to fill holes. We realize that whether it's social support, economic support and recovery, the youth task force, the seniors task force, we're not trying to overlap any services. We're just trying to fill holes because we know there's lots of gaps right now in terms of the federal and provincial and regional programs that exist, and we're trying to help as many Brampton residents as we can. And some of these programs are unconventional. The fact that we have volunteers organized municipally delivering groceries and medications is unconventional. But these are unconventional times. We're in uncharted waters, and it's why we've taken these steps to set up task force in areas that we believe we can help the city.
Great. Thank you very much.
And I also see we have Don McLeod from Brampton Focus. Don?
Yes, can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, great. Health officials stated that 114 out of the 274 deaths are connected with long-term care facilities. In Brampton, we have many assisted living, retirement community, and nursing homes. What is Peel Health doing to monitor the situation on all these retirement, nursing homes, and assisted living to make sure that there is a serious lockdown and no spread of COVID-19 throughout the region?
So we have a daily call with public health about this, where I get briefed with the mayor of Caledon and the mayor of Mississauga. We're taking this very seriously. Obviously, this is a very dangerous terrain right here, where you saw what happened in Etobicoke and Bob Cage, and I think it's alarming. I did call the Premier and the Minister of Long-Term Care on the weekend. I had productive conversations with them. They assured me that if there are any shortages in personal protective equipment, the ministry has an emergency stockpile that can be provided to any of our residences. I gave them some instances where I had concerns and they followed up immediately, so I appreciate the fact they're being hands-on to this. The testing, I know the Premier has said that he wants everyone tested. That hasn't happened yet, I would note, and I would hope the sooner they can roll that out for our long-term care facilities, the better. I think it's great that the Premier said last week he wants everyone tested. The sooner that can happen, the better. And I'd also note, we see 60% of our employees at long-term care facilities working multiple jobs, and they're working to make sure that individuals can work in just one facility, so that we reduce the risk. And so these are times for extra measures in long-term care facilities. I'm encouraged by what the province has promised, and now we just need to make sure that it's followed through on.
Great. One quick comment in regarding to the community gardens initiative by Councillor Willens. He mentioned the Knights Table and regeneration. I would suggest that he maybe tap into someone who's been advocating for these gardens for many, many years, Mr. John Ish from Food Securities. He is someone that has been actively engaged over the years to help people grow their own gardens as well.
Well, and we'll welcome everyone that wants to help out and volunteer on this. This is a unique opportunity. Everyone's at home. Everyone has a little bit of extra time on their hands. Why not help with our food security challenges? Why not? And frankly, it's great for the environment. The more plants, the more growing we're doing helps with carbon emissions as well. And so it's just a wonderful initiative that we're going to take on in Brampton. We hope other cities will follow. Let's take advantage of this opportunity by seeing a record amount of home gardens being fostered during this period. And I would note, for those that are low income and couldn't afford their own gardens, we're going to find a way to provide it to them. Where there's a will, there's a way. And in Brampton, we're going to make sure that we make the most of this difficult time by doing some good during this period.
Great. Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Thank you. Well, I see no other questions, so thank you everyone for joining our weekly update, our weekly COVID-19 pandemic update in the city of Brampton.